I had a really busy day today. That's right. Just like all of you, I had a really busy day today. I went to the gym in the morning, got in more than an hour's workout, came back home, took care of all the stuff that I needed to at home, and then I also went out and made sure that my garden was watered. And then I had a session for about 4.5 hours. And now it's 5 o'clock. But you know what? I'm not tired. I'm not exhausted. I'm not waiting for this session to get over because I really, really, truly enjoy talking to all of you. Hi there. My name is Shraboni and I am an educator with Unacademy. I teach courses on communication, on public speaking, on life skills, and I'm here today live on YouTube with you. Apart from Unacademy, I also have a career as a coach, consultant, and a facilitator for the last 25 years. Why am I not tired? Because this is what I've been looking forward to the entire day, to share with you some of my experiences, some of my stories, and hope that you get something out of it and that you are able to bring in some change in your life. Whatever change that is you want, you are able to bring in that change in your life. I have here with me a glass full of water. Now, all those of you who are watching it live and those of you who are going to watch it later, how am I going to get water into this glass? How am I going to get more water into this glass? What do I have to do? Write it in the chat box if you're watching live and let me know. And if you're at home watching it later, well, think about it. How am I going to get more water into this glass? And a moment's reflection will tell you that if I want to get more water in this glass, I have to create some space first. So I have to pour some water out. And I knew I wouldn't be able to do this without spilling some water. I did, but that's all right. But now what I've done is that I've got some space in my glass and I can put in more water. This is going to be the focus of our session today. What is it that we need to lose in order to be a winner? Losing isn't always bad, guys. Losing is actually sometimes quite good, especially if it's something like excess weight that you are trying to lose. Well, not as much as the person on the screen, obviously, but excess weight is great to lose. And there are some other things that it's really very, very good to lose. So we're going to talk about all of those things that is very important for you to lose in case you want to get ahead in life and be a winner. So the top 7 things to lose to become a winner, because sometimes you need to lose to win. So you lose something in the short term because you want to win in the long term. That's what we're going to be talking about all of today. Let me start with a story. It's a story about a hippo. And the hippo was bathing very comfortably in the river, getting all cool and clean and enjoying himself. And then the hippo's friend, a nightingale, came and sat on the branch of a tree right next to the river. And the nightingale started to sing, and you know a nightingale has a lovely voice, and she was singing, and the hippo was absolutely mesmerized. And the hippo said, "Nightingale, you sing so beautifully. How is it that I can't sing?" The nightingale said, "Hippo, you have a lot of good qualities. You're a great friend. You are very stable. You're so big. You allow all these little birds to come and sit on you. You do so many things." And the hippo said, "Yeah, I know, but I can't sing, Nightingale, and I want to sing." Well, whatever the nightingale said couldn't dissuade the hippo. He decided to become a singer. So he climbed out of his river, got onto the bank, and then he started to sing. Now, as you can imagine, it wasn't an unqualified success because this is a hippo. It's not meant to sing. So the hippo said, "Okay, you know what? I think the nightingale is able to sing because she's on the tree, on the branch. That's why she can sing. Otherwise, I can't sing. I'm so sad I can't sing. So I think I'm going to try and climb the tree and then try to sing." So the hippo tried to climb the tree. Just like his singing wasn't a success. Doesn't have the kind of fingers and the ability to actually climb a tree. So the hippo said, "Well, I'm going to break down this tree because I can't sing and I really, really want to sing." So the hippo butted his head against the tree. And of course, after a few headbutts from a hippo, well, which tree could withstand that attack, and the tree fell down. So the hippo got onto the tree, got onto the particular branch, started to sing. Still couldn't sing. Climbing onto that tree had made no difference to the singing ability of the hippo, as you can well imagine. Every single other bird and animal which was around him started to laugh. The hippo was very sad. And then some of his friends, the stork and the elephant and the deer and the nightingale, they all surrounded him and said, "Hippo, why are you sad? So what if you can't sing? You have so many other qualities." And they started to talk about all the fun times they had had with the hippo, and how once the river was flowing too much because there had been too much rain, and they all feared that they were going to drown, and the hippo actually stood in the middle of the river, tried to channel the water so that it wouldn't come on the bank and drown everybody. So they remembered all of these kinds of things, how the hippo was very helpful, had helped so many of his fellow creatures. And as they did that, the hippo started to feel a bit better and said, "You know what? I did realize I have so many good qualities. Why was I thinking about the one thing that I don't have?" And then he looked at the tree and he felt really bad that he had knocked over the tree. So he took the help of his friends and they replanted the tree, and the hippo took care of the tree till it began to flourish again. And the hippo learned a very important lesson. And that lesson was, you really, really need to lose the complaining attitude, guys, if you want to get ahead in life. Complaining isn't going to get you anywhere. Don't whine about the things you don't have. Focus instead on what you do have. I meet so many different people, and they come to me with so many problems, and they say, "I don't have rich parents, so I don't have a big car. I have to take the bus to school every day. I don't speak very well. I don't have a very good accent. That's because I never got the chance to study in an English medium school. All my friends have studied in an English medium school. I studied in a Hindi medium school. I don't have great English communication skills." So many things that we have to whine about. If I sit down right now and I make a list of all the things that I have to whine about, I can guarantee that your list and my list is going to be very, very long. But that list is going to be pointless, not going to help me. So lose the complaining attitude. Just forget about the things that we don't have. Let's focus on the things that we do have. When you whine, when you complain, it really puts off other people. You know that because when somebody else complains and whines, you feel quite annoyed and irritated. But not the first time maybe, because they're your friend and they have a right to complain to you and whine to you. But then the second time, okay, still understanding. Third time and fourth time gets very annoying. And then you're known as the person who whines all the time, and everybody's going to avoid you. Very important. First thing that I always tell people to lose the complaining attitude. How can you do that though? Well, very simple, very, very simple. You need to start practicing gratefulness. And this is a lovely exercise that you can do every night before you go to bed, or every morning when you sit down at your desk before you start the day. Write down all the things that you have to be grateful for. These could be material things like, I have a cycle, I have a new pair of shoes, I have lovely clothes. Or it could be non-material things like, I have an amazing family who loves me. I have a mother who makes me all kinds of special dishes. I have a mother who is a doctor and she's a role model that inspires me to do these amazing things in life. I have my grandparents and my grandparents who live with me, and they tell me stories and they surround me with love. You can even think about the things that you have in yourself that you're grateful for. I have all my limbs. What are all the things that I have? I have my eyesight. I have my hearing. Every single thing. Write down every single thing that you have to be grateful for, and do that first. It's going to be a long list. And then every day, you don't have to write the same long list again, but every day say, what do I have to be grateful for today? Today. Write that down. 4 or 5 things. And the more you focus on it, you'll find that you'll say, I'm a pretty lucky girl, or I'm a pretty lucky boy. And I'll start to lose that complaining attitude. The second one of the greatest hallmarks of the successful people, the most successful people that you've seen around you, is that they always look for the silver lining. They look for opportunities. Every single setback is an opportunity for them. You know, during coronavirus, so many people lost their jobs. So many people lost their livelihoods. They didn't know how to earn their money, how to feed their family. Well, a lot of them didn't give up and they started to do alternative things. Many of my friends, for example, turned home bakers or home cooks, and they started to supply homemade food to other friends, and then in the entire colony, and then now they're starting food supply food to all of Bangalore. Just look for the silver lining. I love cooking. All this time my job wasn't allowing me to devote time to cooking. Now I have an opportunity to start cooking and earning some money out of it. There were a lot of manufacturers of clothes, and people weren't buying clothes during coronavirus, but they started to make masks. Yeah, you know that. And they're still making money out of it. Look for the silver lining whenever you have a setback. Well, if you've got less marks in school, is that the end of the world? No, it isn't. There could be a good side to it. Maybe there was a real wake-up call for you to realize that this is something that I can't take lightly and maybe I need help. Whatever it is, silver linings are always there if you can look for it. Focusing on others is a third way that you can lose the complaining attitude. And that means that you think about, what can I do for somebody else today? I don't feel really good about myself today. I'm feeling very down in the dumps today. Can I maybe offer to carry the bags of a really old lady who was coming back from the grocery store? Or there's a little boy who fell down from his bicycle, he's crying, and I go and give him a toffee, or I give him some words of encouragement. I do something to help somebody else. I help out at home. I do something to help somebody else. And this is proven by biology, by the way, that when you help somebody else, 3 kinds of hormones get released in your body. And these hormones all contribute to you feeling so much happier and lighter. When you exercise, for example, also you get hormones which relate in your body, which get released in your body. That also makes you start feeling happier, more relaxed, and more grateful. So this is what you need to do whenever you feel down and upset and worrying about the things you don't have. Focus on the things that you do have. As I'm speaking, I'm trying to collect my thoughts, and I'm thinking maybe the next thing. Basically, what I want to see. You guys see what I did there? Yeah. Did you catch on what I'm doing? That wasn't me speaking naturally. That was me trying to give you a demo of all the kind of filler words we use. Filler words. Every single person uses them. Filler words, most of us don't even know we are using them. Filler words, everybody who hears you, who's listening to you, hears them and hates them. Like. I went to the store the other day, and I liked a lot of stuff there, but I was confused as to what should I buy right now, for this party which is coming up. And a lot of people use the word like. I, for example, use the word a lot. While I'm speaking, I say and so then I do that. I am sure your brain is ticking over and you're thinking, oh my god, I use that as well. Another word that I use a lot is to say right at the end of the sentence, right? Lose that complaining attitude, right? And this is what I'm explaining, right? A lot of us do this as well, okay? We say, yeah. See another one? Okay, I just used that. Okay. When we use filler words, what happens is we come across as somebody who's not quite sure of what they want to communicate, who's not quite convinced of their ideas, who's not absolutely positive on what they are suggesting, who comes across as somebody who is less than confident. We might think filler word is so small and it has no impact whatsoever. Filler words are small, but just like viruses, which are tiny, 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 and they can almost bring the world to its knees, filler words can have a huge negative impact on your communication and the way that people perceive you. So this is another thing that we start to need to get rid of. This is one thing, and one more thing. The second thing that you need to lose to become a winner. By the way, I see there are quite a few learners here. Please, could you write something in the chat box so that I can see whether I'm able to see your chat or not. But please go ahead. Keep posting your questions, your queries, your comments, because I would love to hear from you. A few examples of filler words and the impact that they have. When you say, I mean, as a filler word, I said this, and when you say this, it means actually the message that it's coming across to the other person is that you're going to revise what you just say. And then you look at and one of the most misused filler words. which means there's a delay. You're thinking, yeah. You do that, is again going to be a delay, which is briefly. Any of you who is interested in making an impact through your communication, and you know communication is the basic human behavior, you must identify which are the filler words that you use and start to lose them. It's quite easily done once you become aware of it. The major problem is that most of us are not even aware of the filler words that we are using. Here's a 3-step method to lose your filler words. Well, one thing that is not here, not part of the step, is the first one, which like I said, is self-awareness. Am I even aware which filler words I'm using? Well, if you're not quite aware yet, ask one of your friends to observe you while you're speaking, or your parents or your sister. And they can tell you how many times which filler word you use. Once you become aware, there's a few tricks you can do, and it works sequentially. The first one is to say full stop. Literally, just say it out loud at the end of the sentence. Here I am presenting to you a 3-step approach to losing filler words, full stop. Now I'm going to show you in detail what these 3 steps mean, full stop. I hope you find this useful, full stop. Otherwise, what's going to happen is going to look like this. Here I am going to show you just now the 3-step method to lose the filler words. I'm also going to explain to you what these are going to mean for you in detail. So then I'm going to also speak. You see what's happening? Now that I'm using the word full stop at the end of every sentence, I don't have the compulsion to fill that little gap up with the word or or right. So literally use the word full stop at the end of the sentence initially. Now remember, you're not going to do this in front of your peers, your friends in your school, in a public speaking opportunity. You're not going to do that. This is when you are practicing at home. You should say full stop at the end of the sentence, full stop. Just saying that full stop is going to make you much more aware, much more conscious. This is where my sentence ends. Once you've got the hang of this and this has become second nature to you, you can then say the full stop, not aloud, but in your head. So as I go forward, I am going to explain a little bit more about the pause. There, after the pause, I said full stop in my head. I nodded my head. When I nod my head, you know that I just said full stop in my head. And now I'm going to continue with more on this particular method of pause. I'm just saying full stop in my head. And this, what it does is that it makes you really comfortable with silence. And it also signals to the people who are hearing you that this thought or this sentence is at an end. And that's brilliant and beautiful because we speak at a certain rate and the sound very quickly can move from my mouth to my ear. But if I'm speaking to other people, it's going to take a fraction of a second to get to their ears. So when we pause at the end of the sentence, we're giving them time to catch up with what we are saying. And when we add in filler words in between, it confuses them. It's unnecessary. You just pause and say full stop in your head. The third step, when you've got really used to this as well, is that you then don't even say full stop in your head, but you just breathe. That's right, you breathe. Again, getting comfortable with silence. So I hope you've all understood this method that I just showed you. If there are any questions, please ask me. I would love to hear from you in the comment section. Not a single filler word there. Say full stop, pause, and breathe is the 3-step method that I just showed you to lose filler words. Try it out. It really does work. There, I breathed. I didn't say a filler word, okay? This is very, very important, but I did say the filler word okay there. I still have a ways to go, guys. This will go to come with practice. It's not going to be perfect in the first few days. It'll take you months maybe to get rid of all the filler words. And it's okay, I think, occasionally to have 1 or 2 filler words, but not to have a whole lot of them as we are speaking. So that's number 2. So we did 2 already. 2 things to lose. One is lose the complaining attitude. And the second one is lose filler words. Now we're coming to the third one. Do you want to be among the top 2% people in the world? Do you? Do you? Do you? And most of you are going to say, yes, we do. We want to be among the top 2% people in the world. This is not the top 2% in terms of money. This is not the top 2% in terms of success. But this is the top 2% of people who've achieved their potential, who've achieved their goals, who've made their own dreams come true. And it doesn't matter what kind of dreams they were. It could be dreams of corporate success, or it could be dreams of becoming a skydiver, could be dreams of becoming a painter, could be any kind of dreams. But only 2% of people in the world get to achieve their dreams. And these 2% people have something really special. And you need to lose something in order to gain what these 2% people have. What is it that you need to lose? Well, you need to lose fear. You need to lose fear. Many years ago, I went on a camping trip in the Himalayas. I went up to Rishikesh to a particular camp. And if you know Rishikesh, if you've been there, you know that it's beautiful. The Ganga is flowing through it. There's the mountains, all kinds of hilly spaces, all of those. And that's an ideal place for somebody to do adventure sports. And so I did. I signed up for a course. And at one point of time, I had to jump off a cliff into sheer cold, rushing water below me, more than 50 feet. I was standing on top of the cliff, and the instructor said, jump off right now. And for the longest time, I just stood there because I was so scared of what would happen. I just stood there. I couldn't move. I was frozen with fear. Also with cold, because it was very cold. It was December and it's Rishikesh. But it was mostly fear. Whatever people around me, the instructors around me were trying to encourage me, and they would keep saying all kinds of things. Everybody is doing it. Nobody gets hurt. You do it. Don't worry about it. On the river below me, there was a guy with a kayak all ready, that in case there is any kind of emergency, he's going to help me out. I'm wearing a life vest. I have all of this safety equipment around me, but I still couldn't jump. Till at one point of time, I decided I will jump. And I did. It was amazing. It was scary for maybe a fraction of a second when I first jumped off the cliff. And I went into the water. And I came out of the water spluttering, drenched, completely drenched. And I came out and I said, I want to do it again. Fear is only in our minds. Fear is not real. It's just in our minds. We stop ourselves every single day from doing things because we're afraid. We're afraid of what's going to happen. What if we fail? What are people going to say? What's going to happen? What if I hurt myself? We have so much fear in our lives that it holds us back, just like it holds back 98% of the population. 2% of the population have a certain kind of mindset, and that mindset is the fearless mindset. The 98% of the population live in the comfort zone. The comfort zone is the space where you are very comfortable. This is your habitual space. This is what I do every single day. I get up and I make my bed. Then I brush my teeth. I have my milk and I get to studying. And in the evening I go here. It's so comfortable every day, so predictable. I'm not going to take a risk. Every Sunday we go out to the mall. Every Saturday I go out running with my mom. That's your comfort zone. This is what you're used to. This is what you know is going to happen. It's a wonderful place because it's so comfortable. You're happy there. But you know what? In a little while, that comfort zone gets really boring because it's the same old, same old, same old. And you have to then push yourself to get out and try something new. And that trying something new could be very scary. I don't know how to swim. I don't want to know how to swim because, well, what if I drown? What if I swallow a lot of this chlorine water? What if my friends start laughing at me because I can't? Well, what if? So what? Turn the what if into so what? And just say, okay, so what? So what? So what if my friends laugh at me? After a couple of days, I'm going to be able to swim. So what? And that so what will propel you out of your comfort zone and to embracing the unknown. And you try new things. That's the 2% mindset. I'm going to be unafraid. I'm going to try something really new. I'm going to go for my dreams. I always wanted to have a career as a translator for the UN. I'm in class 7. That seems really far away. True, I'm also quite happy with the way my life is. Push myself out of my comfort zone and say, you know what, I'm going to start learning Japanese. And then after I've learned Japanese in a couple of years' time, I'm going to start learning French. It's going to be really hard because I will have all my exams as well, everything else going on in my life. But I'm going to push myself out of my comfort zone, let go of the fear, and start learning something new. When you come out of your comfort zone, initially it's called the panic zone. You try something new. And I learned driving when I was actually quite old. I was 40 years old. I started to learn driving. I learned it, I gave my exams, got my license, and one day I was a fully certified driver and I could take the car out on my own, and I did. First time. Came back home and I realized that I was soaked with perspiration. I was very tightly clenched because I was so scared the entire time. When you try something new, this is going to be very, very scary for you. But you come out of that panic zone and then you move on to the learning zone where the new things you're learning, that's so exciting. And then one day you learn all of it and you get on to the magic zone. And that's the magic zone that only 2% of the population are in. And this is what you need to be in as well. And so you need to lose the fear in order to get into your growth zone or your magic zone. So we've talked so far about the 3 things that you need to lose. I'll recap again at the end. 3 things already done and 4 more to come. This top 7 things you need to lose in order to be a winner. So how do you lose your fear? Well, I find writing them down takes care of them. If I feel there's a monster under my bed, I'm just going to write it down. If I have a monster in my head, all these fears in my head, I'm going to use my little diary, write it all down. And here it is. Here you can see my diary right here. And this is what I do. I write everything down. I'm scared. This is going to happen. I'm scared. This is going to happen. What if, what if, what if? I write it down. The moment I write it down, it actually loses its power because in my head, it's really big. My imagination is very big. But when I write it down in black and white, then it's not so big anymore. It's actually quite small. Write down your fears. Do things that scare you. Actively do things that scare you. Your safety nets are all around you. You have your parents, you have your friends, everybody, your coaches, your trainers, your teachers, everybody is around you. You just have to go ahead and do things that scare you. And don't ever let other people tell you that this is hard or this is scary. It's not their experience. It's their fear talking. It's not your fear. Don't allow them to influence you in the wrong way. Look at these 2 jars and tell me what's the similarity and what's the difference between these 2 jars. And you'll notice the similarity is that they're exactly the same size. And they're exactly actually the same jar, just turned the other way around. Exactly the same jar, exactly the same size. The other similarity is that they have exactly the same quantity of things. Now that you're wondering, no, they don't. The left-hand one has more and the right-hand one has left. Well, actually, that's not true. It's exactly the same number of rocks, the same number of pebbles, and the same amount of sand which is in both the jars. It's just that the way that the rocks and pebbles and sand are placed, the left-hand jar looks like it's overflowing, which it is. There are 2 ways of filling the jar. The first one is on the left-hand side. You can first put in all the sand, then you fill it up with the pebbles, and so that's almost at the top of the jar, and then you start putting in the big rocks. And there's no way you can fit in all the big rocks. They're going to spill out. Same rocks, same pebbles, I guarantee you the exact same amount and the same amount of sand. Different way, and you know this now. You know how to do this. Filling it in the jar. First you put in the big rocks. Then you put in the small pebbles. And only then you fill in the sand from the top, and the sand will just flow into all the nooks and crannies and it will fill it up. And still there will be space in the jar. This is a little bit like the exercise I did at the beginning of the session where I poured out some water to make space for some more water. Slightly different but almost the same. The jar here stands for the time that we have. All of us have the exact same jar because we have exactly 24 hours in a day, 365 days in a year. Nobody in this earth has any more or less time than another person. So to say that I can't do things, I can't achieve things because I don't have time is absolutely false. It doesn't work. We all have the same amount of time. Some of us fill up most of our time with things that don't matter. Small things, trivial things that don't matter. Watching too much TV, spending too much time on the phone, playing too many video games, things which will not get you towards your goals. When you fill up your time with these, then the more important things in your life, getting your studies sorted, pursuing your hobbies, making sure that you do exactly what it is that you're meant to do, all the stuff that you really love, there's no more time for that. But if you just do it the reverse way, you have this amount of time with you, first you figure out, okay, I'm going to think about what are the big goals in my life. What are the things that I need to do to achieve my dreams? I first schedule those in. And then only I think about the smaller goals. I start to put those in, time for those. And only then, if I have some time left, I spend it on the TV, the WhatsApping, the Insta, and YouTube, and Facebook, and games, all of those kind of things. That's the sand, the least important things in your life. It's just about how I manage my time. I just do it differently, just exactly flip it around, switch it around. And what you really need to lose here is to lose your distractions. We fill up our time with so many distractions. So people will teach you about time management, but I always say it's not about time management. None of us can manage our time. We all have the exact same amount of time. All we can do is to manage our attention. Where do we spend our attention? Because our attention is very, very limited. Lose the distractions in order to be able to manage your attention better. This is the fourth thing that you need to lose. So this is just about halfway now. Let's have a quick recap of the 4 things that you need to lose out of the list of 7. The first one, lose the complaining attitude like the hippo and focus on what you have rather than what you don't have. Second one, lose the filler words. Like, right. Lose all of those, right? The third one was, think about it, lose the fear. And the fourth one, lose the distractions. So we've covered 4. There, let me get my fingers straight. There we go. 4 out of the 7 things to lose to be a winner in life. Let's move on now and identify what specifically do we have to do to lose the distractions. Well, you first have to define a distraction. Now, when you say define a distraction, anything that does not get you to where you want to go. When you open up Google Maps, the first thing you do is what? You enter the destination. This is where I want to go. And then you enter where you are and you start to go there. If Google Maps is going to take you 24 minutes to get to where you want to go, it is going to take you 24 minutes because Google Maps is pretty accurate. But if you stop for a samosa on the way, and then you stop to chat to a friend, and then you take a deviation and you say, I'm going to just go and pop across to this game store and see what new releases they have, then you're not going to get to the store, your destination in 24 minutes, are you? So whatever you're doing on the way becomes a distraction because it's taking you away from getting to your destination. And in life, that's exactly the same thing. You have to identify what are your big dreams, what are your big goals. And at the moment, your goal might just be to get into IIT, or your goal might be to crack the medical entrance exam, or your goal might be something completely different. Identify your goal. And then only you will be able to identify your distractions. If your goal is to become a better writer, and you have a little bit of time free in the evening, it's much more important that you do some practice of some writing rather than, just faffing about, wasting your time, maybe doing too much of binging, whatever it is. So that becomes a distraction. An activity is not a distraction by itself. It's only a distraction when it takes you away from your goal. And sometimes it's okay to also indulge in them, to acknowledge them and say, you know what, this is a distraction. I tend to get distracted. I experience it and I say, okay, I feel the urge to do this. You experience it, acknowledge it, and then say, okay, I feel the urge to do it. Let me feel it. Okay, I really, really feel like doing this right now. Feel it. and then say, okay, it's not good for me. I'm going to let it go. You have to feel it to let it go. So that was all I had. The first 4 tips, what to lose. Now have a look at this picture, and what do you see? It's a very interesting picture. There are so many facets to it. What do you see in this picture? And as you start to see this picture, you'll see that there is a lot of things going on. Can you see it yet? Take your time. Look, a very interesting picture. And when you see this, you'll realize that some of us will be able to see an old man and an old woman looking at each other. And then some of us are going to see a male singer with a guitar and a woman who's listening to him. And then if you are really observant and you're seeing it from a different perspective, you will see another woman who's going to come out of the doorway. Can you see that in the middle of the man's head? So you see all these different kinds of things which are there, And the first pass at the picture doesn't actually show you all these things. It only comes when you start looking deeper and deeper. Many times what we do is when we see a person in front of us, somebody comes in front of us, we meet a new person, we have a lot of thoughts about this person, just like we saw this picture and we immediately said, okay, it's a man and a woman. It's only when you start to look a little bit deeper and you start to understand a person that you see all the layers which are there. At a party, if you are introduced to a girl who's wearing a salwar kameez and has long hair which is braided into plaits and is wearing a bindi, what thoughts are going to go into your mind about this person? Immediately your mind will jump to some stereotypes. And it'll say, this girl is probably very studious, she's very obedient, she is a very conservative person, she doesn't know how to party, she doesn't know how to have fun. Now, without the girl speaking a single word, without you knowing anything about this person, you have jumped to conclusions about this person. And the problem with doing that is that it's going to stop you from communicating with this person, getting to know them, maybe even make a friend of this person. This is a big problem. You might have some preconceptions or biases about teachers. Teachers are not going to listen. My parents will never understand what I'm trying to tell them. These are biases. These are things that we think about other people which may not necessarily be true. And it leads to a huge communication gaps when we make some assumptions and then we treat people differently because we make these assumptions about them. Losing your biases is one of the most powerful things you can do to become a more successful person, somebody who is very good at building relationships, who can get their point of view across, but also understand the other person very well. So losing your biases. And this is one of the hardest ones of all the things that I'm teaching you today. Because biases are so ingrained in ourselves, it is very difficult to even recognize that this is a bias. I mean, distractions, much easier to understand, aren't they? But biases are so ingrained in us that it's going to be very difficult to unlearn them. First step, though, is to become aware of them. This is the patterns of thinking that I already have. Become aware of them. And then look for alternative sources of information. So when you say, okay, I think that the farmers in Delhi, for example, they're creating a lot of mess and their protest is making everybody inconvenienced. That's one narrative. That's one way of looking at it. But if you want to get rid of that bias, you need to look for alternative sources of information. So then you need to look for TV channels or newspapers which give you a different perspective about the same farmers' agitation. And a particular TV channel might actually project it very favorably and say the farmers are agitating because their point of view is that they are being treated unfairly and the laws are not good for them. You listen to both. Once you've listened to all sides, you make up your mind by using your logic and your reason. That's one of the ways that you can start to lose the biases. So I would start with probably the middle one, in this case, which is looking for alternative sources of information. And then the first one, becoming aware, because the alternative sources of information will actually make you aware that I was thinking in this particular way, and only then you start to use your reason. Another way of alternative sources of information means you just talk more, you ask more questions. Asking more questions when you get to meet a new person You can even ask more questions of people that you've known forever since your birth. Some of you would have your grandparents living with you, and you probably view them in a certain way. They're old, they're kind, they're very helpful, they tell me stories, or they're very strict. They are usually watching TV serials. You may have all these biases in your head about your grandparents. One way to get to know them better and see if there are some biases which are affecting you is to talk to them. Ask them about their life. What were you like as a child? What kind of school did you go to? What kind of uniforms? Did you guys have uniforms? What kind of uniforms did you wear? What was your favorite food as a child? Ask them questions. Get to know them a little bit more. When you get to know somebody at a deeper level by asking questions, biases automatically start to go off. You don't even have to work towards it. So while it's one of the hardest to tackle, it's once you've made up your mind that I'm going to do it, it's actually one of the easiest to get rid of because it doesn't require too much conscious effort except for a willingness to understand the other person. Now then, let's switch track a little bit. How many of you do this? Or this? Or even this. What I'm doing right now is making you conscious of some of the body language mistakes that you may be making. Our body language is so powerful, especially when we are not conscious of what we are doing. At that points of time, those points of time, your body language can become quite negative. And negative body language actually means body language that's having a negative impact on the person who is in front of you. Just sitting like this when somebody is speaking. I don't know if you can see me just now. Probably can. Just sitting like this conveys to the other person that you're not interested in what they're saying, that you're closed, you're defensive, that you might argue too much if they say something. Sitting like this, again, while somebody is speaking, this is also going to be seen as very close behavior because you see the arms, the fingers are tightly clenched. This person does not want to listen. Or playing with your phone. Where's my phone? Well, I don't even have my phone here. But if I had it, I would. Oh, yeah, I do actually. I could just play with my phone and I say, yeah, you can keep talking, you can keep talking. But I'm just, kind of looking at my phone. Yeah, I'm listening. Bad body language. There are many body language mistakes that we make. And it's important to become aware of all these body language which can have a negative impact. Why do I keep saying the word negative impact? Because body language is not good or bad by itself. It's just the impact that it's having on the other person. And a lot of times people say, but I was just sitting like this because this is comfortable for me. And that's fair. Of course, it might be comfortable for you. You might be standing with your hands in your pockets because it's comfortable for you. That's intent. What is it that you intend? And that intention could just be comfort. But it's all about what impact it is having on the other person. So whenever you are demonstrating some body language, remember always that the other people are looking at you and they're drawing some conclusions from it. And if those conclusions are negative, then your body language is having a negative impact. If they think you are stubborn or you're defensive, or you're argumentative, or you're not listening, you're closed, if they're drawing these kind of signals from your body language, then you're not having the right kind of impact. And body language, much more than words and tone, is what gives the other person a message about who you are and what you are saying. If I ask you to estimate how important is body language in communicating your information, what are you going to say? Compare the relative importance of words, tone, and body language in communicating your message. And most of you are going to say, well, words are very important because everybody focuses on speaking. But you see, words are the least important in communicating what you are saying. It's only about 7%. In fact, 7%. Isn't that absolutely startling? Just 7% of your message is communicated through words. Tone and body language accounts for 93%. This is very important. As you're listening to me, you are not listening to me simply because of the things that I'm saying, but you're probably listening to me because of the way that I'm saying it, the way that I put emphasis, the way that I modulate my voice, how I move around. All of this is making an impact on you. And when my words and my body language match, then it has an absolutely positive impact. But when my words are different and my body language is quite different, then it has a negative impact. So, for example, if I am playing with my phone and I'm saying, I'm listening, people are not going to believe that you're listening because they'll know very well that you're quite distracted, even though you're telling them that you're listening. I'm listening. I'm paying attention to you. Yeah, you know this. You know when your friend does it or your parents do it with you, it's annoying, isn't it? When they're looking at their phones and they're saying, "I'm listening to you." Or it could be something like, "Yeah, take your time. I'm not in any hurry." But you're biting your nails and you say, "I'm absolutely relaxed." Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you're biting your nails. People will not believe your words which says, "I'm absolutely relaxed," but they're going to believe this biting nails behavior. Body language is supremely important. So be careful that you don't use the wrong body language, negative body language. So become aware of your body language. One of the ways to do this is to ask somebody else for feedback. Identify your patterns. Why do sometimes you pull your hair? Or why is it that you bite your nails? Or identify the patterns of why you do it. And then practice a different way. So if I know that I'm going to bite my nails, and that stimulation in my mouth, I need this whole action of biting my nails, then I might get something different. I might actually get some chewing gum, put it in my mouth, and I can chew gum. And that helps me not to bite my nails. And chewing gum itself isn't a great option, but it's better than biting your nails. If I feel that I'm going to be pulling my hair a lot, well, let me just tie my hair. So I don't even have that option of doing it. So these are alternatives to changing your body language. If I typically tend to sit like this, then I have to find an alternative position for my hands. And the best alternative position is directly down by your side. Work it out for yourself. Become aware of it, identify your patterns, and then practice your alternatives. And that's how you will lose the negative body language. 2 more tips remaining in our top 7 tips for things to lose in order to win. And 2 stories to introduce it. Once upon a time, there was a blacksmith. A blacksmith is somebody who makes things out of iron. And in the olden days in the villages, they used to have a blacksmith who would make these things. And one of the things that a blacksmith makes is a horseshoe. Horses and their hooves are very delicate. So they need to wear these iron shoes like the one you see on the screen. And that protects their hooves and makes it easier for them to run. Without a horseshoe, if a horse runs, they go lame and they fall down. And once a horse goes lame and falls down, you really can't do much with it. You may actually have to get the vet to kill it. That's sad, okay? So there was this blacksmith in the village, and he had to put the horseshoe on a particular horse. And obviously horses, they can't tie up the laces. So blacksmiths have to use these little nails to put the horseshoe to the horse's hoof. And it doesn't hurt. The hoof is just like our nails. There's no nerve endings. It doesn't hurt. Don't worry. It's not painful at all. But it has to be done. The blacksmith was very lazy. And that particular day when the horseshoe had to be fitted on this particular horse, he said, feeling too lazy. I will do it tomorrow. What he did realize is that this horse was the king's horse. And the next day there was a big war and he didn't know about it. And in fact, the war just happened. And the king's horse had not got the horseshoe fitted. So the king went out into the battle with a different horse, which he was not used to. And he felt so uncomfortable that he wasn't able to fight the way he usually did. And he made some mistakes and his men made some mistakes and they lost the war. So for the want of a horseshoe, the war was lost. This is something that you need to now think about. What is that thing that you need to lose? This thing that you need to lose is called procrastination. Big word right there, but I know all of you know this. Procrastination. Procrastination is simply not doing something now because you're feeling demotivated, a little bit lazy, and you're thinking, I'll do it later on. I'll clean my room a little bit later on. I'll do my homework a little bit later on. I'll do my guitar practice a little bit later on. So procrastination is putting things off, just like that horse, the blacksmith did. And most of the time it happens because we are looking for instant gratification, this instant feeling of feeling good. Now, I know I need to study, but if I play a game instead, I'm going to feel really good. I know I need to finish my homework, but if I chat with my friends instead, I'm going to feel really good. Instantly good. I know that I have to clean my room, but if I watch a movie instead, that's so much more fun. Instant gratification is about doing things which are fun right now, which are good right now. I want to feel happy right now. And what I do, therefore, is to ignore things which are good in the future. By not doing my homework, by not doing my studying, by not doing my guitar practice, is going to have an impact on my grades, which in turn could have an impact on my future. Oh, but that's all in the future. Kal kisne dekha hai? Let me just go on with all the fun things today. It's one of the reasons why we procrastinate. The need for instant gratification, the need to feel good instantly, rather than the understanding that if I do something hard today, it can give me some good benefits later on in life. This distinction, because I'm not getting this happy feeling right now, I might get happy feeling 1 year down the line. It's so difficult, isn't it? That's why procrastination happens. But if you want to get those important things in life done, you have to lose the habit of saying no, putting things off for a later time. So beware of instant gratification. And in order to motivate yourself, you need to make your goals really visible. Now, I've done a session on achieving your goals. Have a look at it and see this concept called the vision board. And the vision board talks about putting your goals in pictures and keeping it really in front of you. So whenever you feel the need to play the game or do the binging or do any kind of distraction activities, you look at your board. It has all the pictures of all the wonderful things that you want to be able to do in life. And that will give you some motivation to say, this is hard, studying is hard, but I'm going to get to it. I'm going to do it. And the third one, very interesting, practice the 2-minute rule. The moment a thought comes into your mind, I need to do this, do it immediately. Don't take more than 2 minutes to think about it. If you take 2 minutes to think about it, you're not going to do it. I need to clean my room. I need to finish my studying. I need to do this. Whatever it is that you need to do, it comes in your mind. Go and do it. That's it. The 2-minute rule. If you think about it for more than 2 minutes, you are not going to be able to do it. So don't tell yourself, I'll do it after half an hour. Because what's going to happen is after half an hour, you say another 5 minutes, another 5 minutes. That's not going to work. The last one today, the last thing that you lose in order to become your most successful self, starts again with a story. This is a story of a very famous magician called Houdini. Some of you may have heard of him. He's dead. But he used to be very famous at one point of time. And specifically what he was famous for was his ability to break out of chains. So people would put all these chains and the locks and everything, and they would throw away the key. And Houdini, magician, magic, he would magically just take off all the chains. He became very famous for that. In fact, he started doing stunts where he would be tied in chains and thrown into the lake. And underwater, he would untangle himself from the chain. So he became very famous, and he also became quite arrogant because he thought, wow, I'm really good at this. One point of time, the citizens of a small town, through their mayor, sent Houdini a letter, and they said, Mr. Houdini, we are very impressed. We are huge fans of yours. We want you to come to our city, come to our little town, and we want to set you a locked door challenge. So Houdini was excited and he said, small town, what kind of challenge will they set me? I'll be able to do it. So he went there. And the mayor and all the citizens had gathered. They gave him a very warm welcome. And then they put him into a room and they locked the door. They shut the door. And they said, now you have to get out of this room. And Houdini was inside and he's, trying all kinds of, he had all these implements, his lock picks, all kinds of things. He's trying it on the lock. He's not able to open the lock. Do you know why? Can any of you guess? You guys are very smart. I know you are guessing. Yes, absolutely right. What happened was that the door wasn't locked at all. The citizens had tricked him. They had simply shut the door, they hadn't locked the door. Houdini, by force of habit, sees a locked door or a shut door, he assumes there is a big lock. This is what habits do to us. They create these chains, these patterns of behaving, these patterns of thinking. And if you want to change any of the things that I just said so far, the one big change that you have to make is to lose your bad habits. Lose your bad habits. That's it. And these are lots of different kinds of bad habits that you might have. It's very specific to you. There are some, in general, there are some bad habits which it's good to avoid. But my suggestion to you would be to identify some bad habits that you have that you really want to get rid of. The bad habits could be keeping you from enjoying life. They could be keeping you from doing the best that you can. They could be wasting a lot of your time. They could be making you shy around people. They could be making you scared of taking on new things. All kinds of things. Could be all different kinds of bad habits. Identify a few of them. Become aware of why you want to change the bad habits. Identify how you can change your bad habits and then replace with an alternate. This, you need to lose the bad habits in order to incorporate some good habits. And again, going back to the exercise I did at the beginning of the session where I showed you this glass filled with water, and I asked you, if I have to put in more water inside, what do I have to do? I have to empty this glass. If you are going to make space for good habits in your life, you need to start getting rid of some of the bad habits that you have. Otherwise, there's no space. These were all the 7 tips, 7 things to lose in order to become the best possible version of yourself. Lose the complaining attitude, lose the filler words, lose fear, lose the bad body language, lose the bad habits, all of these different kinds of things. Lose the procrastination and lose biases. All of these, I'm very quickly recapping as you can see. Lose all of these so that you can become the 2% people in the world who achieve all their dreams. 7 things to lose to become a winner. Let me end with another story. This is a story about a mouse which fell into a big tank of rice. The tank was only about half full and the mouse was very happy because there was all this rice. Started to eat and eat and eat all of these grains of rice. And as it ate its way through, gradually the tank emptied. And then the mouse realized that now that it was at the bottom of the tank, it couldn't jump out. The walls of the tank were too smooth. It tried to climb out, but it couldn't. It kept falling down. What happens in life is that we find everything so good, so healthy, so comfortable. We get so used to it. And we don't realize that it just takes us deeper and deeper and deeper into non-achiever mode. And if you want to really get those important things in your life sorted, well, don't be like the mouse. Lose the 7 things that I talked to you about in order to become a winner. I hope you enjoyed this session. If you did, well, Unacademy's Creative Corner is full of sessions like this. So I hope you are attending all of these different sessions on 31st January. There is a whole day from 9 a.m. onwards of sessions on magic, doodling, poetry, coding, robo making, app creation, oh my god, storytelling. There's so many different kinds of things on 31st January, all free. You just have to register. And then, of course, there is all the other kinds of courses as well, which are going on. The Telegram group description is in the link is in the description box. Join the Telegram group. You can keep getting updates. You can keep asking your questions. The January Carnival is still on every day, 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock and 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Amazing, interesting, interactive sessions, all free for every single person to join. All kinds of sessions going on there as well. And well, I always enjoy video submissions, so I would love for you to submit a video. Again, the link to submit is in the description, and I want you to tell me your top tips. What are the things to lose In order to win, what did you learn from this session? Your top tips, maybe 3 or 4, just a few minutes long video. It doesn't need to be a very long video, very short, 2 minutes, 4 minutes, absolutely fine. Please put those on the Creative Corner by Unacademy YouTube channel using the link below, and then you might get featured as a star creator, as you can see some of the people below. If you use my code, the code is also there in the description, Shraboni YT10, you can get a 10% discount on the Unacademy app. Yes, there you go. Creative Corner overall is an amazing place because it has so many different kinds of courses beyond your school syllabus. I hope to see more of you in Creative Corner on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed this session. This is time for me now to say thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye till next time.